So I did upload this, but I'm just gonna quickly run through and explain what we did where. So with our rainfall program, when we created our arrays were created global so that we can use it in all our buttons. Our rainfall, this is the rainfall pattern for all 9 provinces in the 4 terms of the year. And I asked you to put in random whole numbers there for the amount of rain that they received. So our rain array, we've got 9 rows for the 9 provinces and then 4 columns for the 4 terms, and they will all be integers. I created my totals, so a province total to give me the total for each province in the year, and a term total to give me the total for each term in the year. So there's 4 terms and there was 9 provinces. I also created a constant variable. So this variable cannot be changed in the coding, so it's fixed because it's our provinces. We don't want it to be fixed. We didn't need to make it constant, but it's a nice thing to understand. So I called it just prof. There's 9 of them, and they are string. And then with the brackets, and you'll see with equals, you can now assign the value. So these values were actually fixed. So they cannot be changed, and they are already given. So they initialize to that, all 9 provinces. Okay, so then in our first button, we want to now just go put the random in. So I randomized, and then my for loop, my rows going from 1 to 9, and my columns going from 1 to 4. And then in my rain to the array, at position R and column C, I wanted to put a random number, 401. My random number I wanted was between 0 and 400. So those of you that know, we say it's our highest minus our lowest plus 1, and then on the outside again plus lowest. But because it was plus 0, which doesn't mean anything, and minus 0, which doesn't mean anything, and then it was just plus 1, I thought we could have just set the 401. And then I called my display method. So I went to the top, created a procedure called display, semicolon, so I just typed that there. I pressed Ctrl Shift C, and then it created, just see where it is. So it created this piece for me. So what I did, I created my string variable this. That's for each row. You'll remember when we want to display each row, there's multiple values in each row. So we wanted to first combine all of it and then display it once because it's in a rich edit. So I started off with a rich, my red display.text, so it would clear what's in there and then put the heading on top. Then we put our headings for each term. So I put a tab space for the province name and then term 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I did my for loop with my rows from 1 to 9. And then when I start the row, I put the province at position R. So this, you'll remember prov is all my province names and then a tab. So this would put my province name at the left of my row, at the right at the start of the row. Then when I start with each column, I say this variable must become whatever it was, plus then my 2D array. But then because this is an integer, I just needed to interstring it. And then I put my -9 so that there's a tab between each value, so that I need columns. When I'm done with all the columns, so I put my heading in front, then I put all 4 values, and then when I'm done with all 4 of the values, then I went and just displayed this. But at the end, after this, I also wanted #9, and then I wanted to show the total for the province, also at position R. And then, so that is the end of each row. And then when I'm done with all of the rows, so that means I'm right at the end of my whole block of information. Then I wanted my term totals. So then I just added a tab again for my province name, and then my term 1 total and my term 2 total and 3 and 4 with #9s in between. So you'll see my first button when we play this. Okay, so when it's played and we click our first button, you can see there's our heading on top. Here's the 4 terms. Here's my provinces with all information. And then my totals are still 0 at this stage because they didn't click the total button as yet. Then our next button, the change. We ask the person which term does he want to change. And then example is just like 1 or 2 or 3. So this would be an integer. And we ask him which province, so string prof. And I went uppercase so that I don't need to worry about the case sensitivity. And then I asked him which province, and I gave him an example of case 10. And this would make it a capital letter in any case. So then my for loop, I can go from 1 to 9, and then I go look. If the province that the person wants to change is equal to the province name in my province array at position R, which will go 1, then 2, then 3. So it will check all the province names against the one we're looking for. And once we found it, R was the position of where that was. So then that one I keep in my iprof for an integer province, because this is now basically the row I want to use. So then in my 2D array, at the row iprof and at the column term, that value we want to change. So then I just ask for a new value and we string to int it so that we can put it into that 2D array and then just display afterwards. So it calls the display method again. For my totals, I started with initializing them to 0. They are already 0, but if a person clicks the button multiple times, if you don't have this, it will add the total to the total, so it actually doubles every time. So I just initialize so that that does not happen. Then I went my 2 for loops to go through my whole 2-dimensional array. And my province total, which is my row, I just added to whatever that total was, plus the value in my 2D array. And the same with my column. My column total at C, I added to my column total that was at C, and then I added the 2-dimensional array to that. Because each value is part of a row and a column, so we need to add it to the row total and the column total where it applies. And then I just displayed at the end again. And then my search. So I asked him again, the same as our change, the same sequence needed to happen. We needed to ask him which term does he want to change and which province are we looking for. Then we go through all 9 provinces looking for the one we want to keep the position, and then we just display the reign of that particular province. So we take our 2D array, at that row and that column, we make it a string and then we can display it. Our diagonal totals, we just use the first 4 provinces. So we initialize our totals to 0. We go through the whole 2-dimensional array, but you'll see we just stopped at our rows at 4 because we said just the first 4 provinces. Then if our row is equal to our column, that means it's the left diagonal. The left diagonal becomes whatever it was plus the 2D array value. And if, because it's a 4 by 4 one, our row plus our column should be 5. So then if our row plus column is 5, then our diagonal right must become whatever it was plus that value. And we just displayed at the end. And then lastly, this 2 buttons I added on. It wasn't there initially, so I just wanted to show you what should happen with them. Let's say we wanted the wettest term. So we wanted to know which term had the most rainfall. So it's our normal 1-dimensional array question actually, because we've already got our totals. What we can do is, if we're not sure if the totals button was clicked, we can say that our button totals must be clicked. So this will force the button to be clicked. Then we say we assume the first term is automatically the highest. So we take the value from there, the total value, and put it in there. And then the term was 1, because we assume term 1 was the highest. So this is the rainfall put in there, and the term value put in there. Then we go through all 4 of them. And we're comparing each of the terms to see if any of the terms has got a bigger value than the high currently has. If it's got a bigger value, then we give that value to high and we keep that position then. So that at the end we can display that position, because that was the term that had the most rainfall. Then we'll do the same thing for our driest province. So we want to know the province that had the least amount. So we apply the same rules. we can, if we're not sure that the button would have been clicked, we could have said button totals dot click. That will force the totals button to be clicked. We assume the first province total is the highest, so keep the value in there of the rainfall, and then we keep the province name of the first one in there. So this is the province name of the first one, and this is how much rainfall is got for the first one. And then we want to go through all 9 other provinces, comparing if any of the other province totals is less than the lowest one. If it is less than the lowest one, then we want to keep that province total, and we want to keep that province name, so that when we're done with all of it, we can just display the province name that was kept. Alright, that is our program for this week, of last week. I hope all of you understood this. Please ask me if you're not too sure. But thank you very much, people. Goodbye.